welcome back to Devils United, second show of the night. With me today, I've got Tom. Tom, how are you?
I'm very well. I'm good.
Good, I'm glad to hear it. So we'll be doing a Champions League preview. My first preview for Sporting on the channel, and that's against Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham Hotspur, we all know, Premier League club, but it's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be an interesting game, isn't it, Tom?
Yeah, very. Two good teams. Well, one team that's doing all right, even though they're scraping results, and the other team that are very good underrated side.
Yeah, it sure is. And the thing is, it's going to be an interesting one because they both play the exact same formation.
It's going to be. I think this game's going to be won in the midfield more than anything.
And that's the thing. What worries in terms of a Sporting point of view, because the midfield, they've lost too many midfielders, which you would have known of. Nunes going to Wolves, and Paulinho going to Fulham, losing the two best midfielders, especially Paulinho, who had this third highest tackles in the Champions League last season. It's a big one to lose.
I mean, Paulinho, did he go on deadline day?
He went. That was Nunes went near to deadline day. Paulinho went around. When did he go around? It was around the beginning of August. He left.
Yeah. I mean, he's a good player. I've always rated Paulinho. He's a very good player. But it's going to be interesting. Will one of the teams change formation? Try a different way? I've just got a funny feeling Tottenham might switch to a back four.
That would be quite risky, though.
Yeah, because Conte doesn't play four, does he? He always plays a three.
It would. We'll jump into the comments. Good evening, Henry. Hope you're well. Do you think with the games being cancelled, the season will have to extend again like last time? There's 3 games postponed over the weekend, one of them being Man United. They're supposed to be, all then got postponed last week. From what I've heard, with the games postponed last week, they're getting played in the midweek fixtures after the World Cup. I don't know if you've heard that, Tom.
Yeah, I've heard that.
It's a bit too much, though, isn't it? Would you personally extend the league by a further week? I'd personally rather do that because I think coming from an extensive World Cup, depending who obviously each team get, you look at, for instance, Fred could be there for the entire tournament. He's in Brazil. Could Martinez.
I mean, the only thing I think it's going to work is Premier League team players that aren't playing the World Cup for a few days will probably travel back and play the Premier League games and then probably travel back over to Qatar. That's the only way I think they should do it, or what they should have done is play the games that are postponed during international break and cancel the international break.
Yeah, because it's only the Nations League and it's against Italy and Germany, which I'm dreading to play against.
You know what? For a joke, I might try and get a ticket because I know England are going to lose. Might just try and get just for a bit of a holiday.
It'd be nice. It'd be a nice holiday. It would be a nice holiday. Good evening, Gary. I hope you're well. Thanks for coming in, and good luck for your midweek fixture, which is against. Oh, who you're playing against now? Celtic is playing. Oh, I can't remember who you're playing now, Gary. You'll have to enlighten me. Celtic are playing. Can't remember. Good luck whoever you're playing against, anyway, Gary. Good evening, Liam. I hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. Good evening, Ravi, as well. Thank you for coming into the chat. So we'll go in terms of Tottenham because their Champions League game, they comfortably won the game 2-0. Richarlison making his debut and getting the 2 goals to help the team for victory. I know you watched the game, Tom, and what did you think of the game, the way Tottenham was set up as well?
They're set up all right, but they still, I don't know, they still don't look, they're threatening, but they still don't look over good. They're just scraping results out, I think. But I do think it's a matter of time before they will absolutely annihilate a team, because I think the options they've got, for me, I think the player that shocked me this year is Son, how bad he's been. I mean, he was so bad. he was so bad again the other night. Honestly, I mean, he's just like, I don't know what's got wrong with him. I think confidence is something just looks shot.
You'd think though, knowing that he has got the golden boot, and rightfully, this is no disrespect to Mo Salah, because he won the golden boot without winning a penalty, without scoring a penalty. So to score 19 goals without a penalty, it's some going, and you'd think that would be great confidence coming into the season. But could you argue, could he be overworked there at Tottenham?
Pressure might be on because he knows Richarlison's come in. He might, and Perisic as well. You know, I think pressure might be on him. And to me, what I think Son needs to do, I think he needs to be dropped for a few games. So then he needs to realise, like, right, look, yeah, I need to work harder now. I'm not starting. I want to start. I need to get better.
Yeah, and looking at who they've got as an option, I know you did mention Richarlison and Perisic. I can imagine Perisic will be probably playing in the wing back role. But looking at it in terms of winger options, there isn't, apart from Kulusevski, they've got Brian Gill, who I highly doubt they would use. Apart from that, I can't think. I'm looking at the bench option they had against Marseille, and they haven't really got options for me where I could say Son could be dropped for these players.
The only option that he could be dropped is Kulusevski, or you could put Sessegnon as a wing back and move Perisic forward.
Perisic work well as a more forward, do you think?
I mean, he's a winger, but he plays as a wing back, doesn't he? I think this is what happened at Inter with him, didn't he? He played in this position and he was really good. Even though he's a right footer, playing a left-sided role is not easy.
No, definitely not. It's definitely not easy at all. And Ravi thinks Spurs will be Spurs and Richarlison will get a goal. I really hope Richarlison don't get a goal against Sporting. I don't know what you think about Richarlison yourself, but I'm not a fan of him.
I'm not, especially that kick-ups thing over there. And he got clattered on Forest game. He was trying to be fancy, wasn't he? And he just got taken out.
Yeah, by Brennan Johnson. I tell you something, if he done that against Sporting, I'd literally hope Quartes literally sparks him out. That's not even a joke. I hope he did. He did. I really, really did. Ravi thinks Spurs has a better squad and a manager this time round. I look at the Spurs squad and I do agree they've got the quality, but I'd also look at Frankfurt as well in that last game, and Frankfurt, they had a world-class goalkeeper, Trapp. Trapp is, for me, arguably one of the best goalkeepers in the world and conceded 3. And you'd think, being a Europa League winner, you'd want to come in and do a lot better against the Sporting side who got knocked out in the round of 16 and arguably has not done so well in the transfer market. They've lost a lot of their good players. And the players they've signed, apart from the obvious ones, they've not been standing out yet in this Sporting squad. So it can work either way. But for me, as much as I think Conte is a great manager, you can't rule out Ruben as the Sporting manager. He is such an underrated manager.
I rate him. I've rated him for a number of years. And Trapp the goalie for Frankfurt. I'm surprised United didn't go after him, you know.
Yeah.
I'm surprised with that. I think in the summer he was one of the options that I think on Mark Gorbage on United stand was I caught a comment and said Trapp should go there, but obviously he didn't, did he?
Yeah, he didn't go in the end. Apparently, from what I've heard, I don't know how true it is, but he was supposed to have rejected Manchester United. So, good luck to him.
Might want Champions League.
Probably so. Henry wants Sporting to win. Very, very good choice.
I'll put a bet on Sporting to win, so I hope it comes through.
What's the odds for Sporting to win this game? Just because I know you mentioned you put.
I didn't look at the odds. I just went in William Hill and just put £1 on Sporting to win. If they win, I win
Oh.
£560. If
What?
Sporting beat.
Is that how bad the odds are? Wow.
Knowing my luck, I never win bets. So
Oh wow. Liam said it's a battle of the bat. There, the wing bats could be vital in this game. That is something I've really got to agree with. We'll touch on, of course, for you, Tom. Spurs' wing backs. I'll touch on Sporting's wing backs. Wing back options for Spurs isn't too bad, is it? Really, they got Perisic, who is a world class fullback for one, and then it's the other side for me because they've got Anderson, they've got Segerson who could play there, Docker.
they've
They've
got.
got Spence now.
I think Tottenham need to give Spence a go because last season for Nottingham Forest. I mean, I hate to say this. I hate saying this day. In the playoff final that we lost, that we shouldn't have lost, he's probably one of their best players. He tore us to shreds. Honestly, he's such a good. I don't even know why he's gone to Spurs. I don't get it. Probably all that in it, all money.
Probably. I
likely.
wanted him. I rate the kid. I like him. I really, really like him. I'm still angry to this day Spurs have got him. I think he's such an underrated right wing back. This is the problem is he's not being used in that Spurs squad. And could he break in at all? Where's he gonna break in? Is he going to be using a potential cup game? I can't see him getting used in this Sporting game. I think it's going to be Emerson and Perisic again.
For me, I think Spence needs to be given a go because he can beat defenders, and that Emerson, I don't rate at all.
No,
I mean, Spence can beat his man. He can also move inside and try bring players into play. I feel sorry for Spence at Tottenham. I really do.
Yeah, so do I. He doesn't deserve to be sat on the bench. Not at all. And looking at Sporting's wing back options, they've got Porro. Porro, he was a former Manchester City player. He never got used in that Manchester City squad. He went to La Liga, tore up La Liga. Then Sporting decided I want a 2-year loan deal with him. And because he done that well at Sporting, Man City, even though he's not even kicked a ball for Man City goes, you want him? 20 mil.
And you got him.
Yeah, Sporting got him for 20 mil, as he didn't even kick a ball for Man City.
This is the thing that I always say with City Academies. I don't get why they don't just give their youth a chance. I don't get it at all.
No. Exactly. And I think for me, Porro definitely deserves to have the chance. I think he is definitely better as a right wing back than he is as a right back. And he probably wouldn't have suited the current Man City squad. But the thing is, what everyone knows about Pep Guardiola, he can change players around. You look at Zinchenko, for instance, he's not a fullback. He's a midfielder, and Pep tactfully changed him into a left back.
Well, exactly. I mean, it was attacking midfielder, wasn't he, Zinchenko?
Yeah, and the same with Cancelo. He was a winger.
I know. The thing is with Cancelo, he's actually were made into a right back. I think was it Juventus,
Yeah.
and then Pep just turned him in. For me, he's probably one of the best left backs in Prem.
I must agree, and that's exactly what Pep's done.
After Malaysia, that is. Malaysia.
And then the other side for Sporting, they actually don't have a fullback for the left hand side. They haven't got a wing back, sorry, because they have got Roos, who is more of a centre back, but Ruben has converted him into a left wing back, and I think he plays a bit too defensively. I think when he goes forward, he gets exploited too much for me. Nuno Santos, he's been playing more as a wing back recently. I really like Nuno Santos. He scored the third goal for Sporting against Frankfurt. He scored as well in the game over the weekend. He's very, very good. But the thing is, Nuno Santos, he is a winger. He isn't a wing back. So he's having to play into that more defensive line, which he shouldn't need to play. But to get into, that's the only way he's going to get into the squad, because you look at the front line of Sporting of changing around the Polino, Edwards, Gonzalez, Trincao. He isn't going to get in there, Nuno Santos.
No, exactly. Trincao I rate highly.
Yeah.
I think he's quality. I mean, Sporting, for me, you know, he's one of them teams this year that I'm actually going to watch a lot of.
Mm-hmm.
Because from what you've said, they do sound like a good team, and I'm going to scout them all this season and write down what I think at the end of the season and share it.
You definitely should do that. They definitely are a good side. Just as Ravi has touched on it, they know how to come back in the second half. I look at that game against Frankfurt. There was 0-0 at halftime. I done a watch along for it. People would have known who's in the chat who was watching me as well, and I even said I actually can't see Sporting winning this game. Got to 0-0 halftime, and I said Sporting would have been dreadful. Frankfurt have been the better side, and if they had their scoring boots on, Sporting could have been 2-0 down at halftime. That was how poor I thought Sporting was at halftime. And then you had the talk, and then within 10-15 minutes of between 60 and 75 minutes, Sporting scores 3 goals. They can just turn it around like that.
It's good team spirit in it. It's good fighting spirit. It's what every team needs. I mean, it's like teams, any team that doesn't play well. I do find it weird with teams. They don't play well first half, but second half they just turn up. I just don't get it. But
yeah,
I've heard a few people saying Sporting are a good second half team. But they need to try and get this over 90 minutes performance now, don't they?
Exactly. That's the only problem, because especially what I've watched the Sporting this season, if they can't switch on in the first half, especially if they go 1-0 down before the half is over, they'll lose the game. There was dreadful against Porto, where they lost as well, 3-0 heavy defeat. But Sporting hasn't really had a heavy defeat since. I definitely agree with what Andrew has said. Trincao has been a danger man in the game, in the Sporting side. I think he's done very well in terms of his assisting, his scoring. He's getting into them right places, Trincao, and I think a lot before he came to Sporting, Trincao was one of them people fans would laugh and go, "Ha, Trincao, what you getting him for?"
Yeah, I'm surprised. Do you know what? I'm surprised. Like a club in Premier League stepping up. Someone like a Leeds or Everton. No, not Everton. Lampard. God, no, you don't want to go there.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere like Leeds or Aston Villa could have snapped him up. But yeah, I've always rated him. I've followed a bit of his career. You know, I do a lot of scouting, a lot of players online, and for me, is one to watch over the next few years.
I completely agree, and this is the thing. They're one of them where they're so good at bringing a player's career back. You look at Sarabia. He was another one. His career has gone very, very good since as well. Hey there, Martin. Hope you are well. And hey there, Talking You. Hey there, Andrew. Yeah, so what we'll touch on as well, because there is going to be a reunion. If people aren't aware of this, is that Eric Dyer was an ex-Sporting player. Eric Dyer was in Sporting's youth academy, got promoted to their first team, and that's where Tottenham found him. And he's been at Tottenham ever since. So, how much do you think this means for Eric Dyer to come to Sporting Lisbon, the team that made him into the player he is now?
Well, the thing is, it's like footballers always said they will always remember their youth, how to bring them through. And I think he might have a bit of nerves. You know, he might get a few boos, as footballers do. Well, he might do, but he was only young back then, wasn't he?
Yeah, because he's
But
he's in his prime his prime ages at the moment, and obviously he's been here for about he's been at Tottenham for about 8 years. So he came out very young. He was only 20 when he got to that Tottenham side, and in that Tottenham side as well, he was the young star man.
yeah, I mean, he's gone from a defensive centre midfielder to a centre back, hasn't he? I mean,
Yeah, he
I think
was
you know
initially
what I
CDM.
think he's yeah, I think he's better than Harry Maguire. I really do. 10 times better than him.
Mm. Yeah, I agree. I actually don't mind Eric Dyer as a player. I just think sometimes he could just get exposed highly, but in that sporting side, I think he's suited that style of play, and the fact that he's so versatile in the side as well, it's absolutely brilliant. And it even says it in 2000, Dyer as well scoring his first senior goal with a direct free kick against Benfica. Well,
I remember that goal. What a goal as well.
exactly. Oh wow! And you could tell, and I think you look at it, I think you'd be able to tell how much it would mean. But I think the only problem is in terms of sporting. I think they let go of Eric Dyer's far too cheaply. 4 million is not enough for
In
someone who
football
you
nowadays,
expect.
it's not.
No, 100% not, and especially knowing he's been at Spurs the length of time he has been as well. It's crazy.
I think the thing with Eric Dyer is that he's not just good in the air; he's good on the ball. He can pass the ball, and he's all right dribbling it with it as well. He's not got the as much pace, I'd say, but he knows how to get a tackle in.
Oh yeah, he is very, very good in terms of his tackling, 100%. And I think it was Pochettino who made him into a centre back. Because
Yeah,
I'm
but
sure he was bought as a defensive midfielder for Tottenham, and uh, Pochettino put him back. Well done, Pochettino. What an
yeah,
amazing manager you
they
are.
wanted really.
I didn't know that about Eric Dyer. Inside trading, yes, something like that. Not just that, you look at Rui Patricio, another sporting youth academy as well, and probably people wouldn't have thought of Rui Patricio as another one. I look at how he is a Europa Conference League winner is a couple of seasons ago, probably one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League.
Yeah,
Um,
for me, he
uh,
was.
100% I agree.
The
Brush,
Glazers are
thank you. Thank you, Brush, so much. Hey there, Foxer. Hope you're well. Vamos Sporting. If anyone's wondering what that means, it means come on Sporting. So Foxy's back in Sporting. Dyer is like Maguire in a way. If he doesn't have the pace alongside him, he can get exposed easily. I agree with that. I think he is very slow. Um, I think that's why Harry Maguire got exposed quite a lot because he was alongside Lindelof, and I think as well the thing and Eric Dyer suits the back three a lot more too. That's where you see the best of Eric Dyer in that back three.
In the back three. Well, yeah, sits in centre of the back three, and then you've got your right side and left side, haven't you? Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, I've
Uh,
noticed the Spurs when Sanchez has played, Dyer's always been helping him out all the time.
exactly. He has been. He really has been, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Good evening, Niall. I hope that you are well. Liam said closing down the front three and wing backs will be vital for Sporting. Spurs' midfield isn't too creative. What do you think of Tottenham's midfield, Tom?
It's like who their midfield's good, but Basuma,
Oblak.
I think Basuma's probably the one for me that needs to start more games in their midfield, alongside is it Holberg or Heiberg or however you say his name?
Holberg, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not a fan of Ben Bentaker.
Benticus. I don't know how you say it, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan of him, to be honest. I don't think
Ben
he is
Tanker,
good
that's
enough.
it.
Yeah, I don't think he is good enough. I know he's a central midfielder, but I actually think Oblak is the one who's doing all the donkey work, and he's just there for sentimental value. And
That's
if
why I
you
think Basile needs to be come in now and help Heiberg, oh God, how do you say it?
and if you
Holberg
look
out.
at in terms of take away the wing backs, and if you want to look at just the midfield too, there isn't too much difference between Sporting's and Spurs's. Spurs's have got the bigger names, but Marita is very creative. Ugante, he's more of defensive midfielder. He plays as a box to box, but I just don't. I'm not a massive fan of him, to be honest. And maybe this could be one where Pedro Gonzalez might move back to, the midfield, because he's every time he's played as a midfield so far, Sporting have won the game.
Yeah, it's an interesting call, but for me, Tottenham, I think they need to play Basuma in their midfield because last season for Brighton, he was so good. Basuma, I mean, he's quality. He's a quality player, but that can't pronounce his name. He's not good enough. He's not good enough for
No,
me.
I don't think he's good enough either,
He's,
to be
he's just
honest.
like he's a Haaland Harry Winks. That's what he is.
You could say that, that's for sure. Yeah, and I'm just thinking in terms of Sporting as well, because they play false nines quite regularly. They either play Gonzalez, they either play Trincao, or they play Marcus Edwards in the middle of the front three. And with Paulinho, he has been benched for the past so many games. And for me, I think this is the kind of game where I don't think you can play a natural. I don't think you can play a false nine in this game in terms of Sporting. I
No,
think if they do, they'll get highly exposed in the back line.
yeah. It's like
And
these false nine three at back systems. For it to work, you've got to have a striker that can press. Otherwise, it won't work at all.
yeah, they definitely press, but the thing is, for me, is that they're not too good in the air. And with
No,
Paulinho, he's quite good in the air. He's been injured. He's been on the bench the past couple of games. So I would be interested to see if maybe they might start Paulinho, just because of, as well, this Harry Kane who
yeah.
Sporting has to also defend, as well as if Richarlison's starting, Human Son, Kulusevski, there's still Harry Kane, and he's easily one of the best strikers in the world. So I think you need to have a natural number 9, so you can come along with the tall defenders of Eric Dyer to try and defend, because they've got some tall players in that squad.
I think Spurs' threat is probably from set pieces, the height they've got now. But it's an interesting thing. If Richarlison starts, whereabouts does he start?
I
It's
think
an
if he
interesting one, isn't it?
starts, I think if he starts, I think it's gonna be um Son's on
Oh,
the
isn't it?
left, Richarlison's on the right, and then
Yeah.
Kane will be up front.
If Kulusevski starts over Son, Richarlison would likely go to the left.
We'll do it. We'll do a quick formation. See what we could do. In terms of the Spurs squad, because it's an interesting one. Because I think they'll play as a
Yeah.
three at the back. They'll play as a 3-4-2-1, I'd say, and I think that's exactly how Sport is going to line up as well. So I'll quickly get that up. The create formation here. Ravi's right. I think if the Spurs do play Royal, Sporting will definitely have a field day. Yeah, so we already know who's going to be in that goal. We know it's going to be Lloris.
Yeah, Levis.
And we always know that Harry Kane will be playing in that striker role. So it's about where everybody else is going to be fitting in. I'd say what Holberg is going to be playing in that
Yeah,
lineup as well. I need to spell his name. Who do
it's.
you think is going to be starting as well, Tom?
I think their back line will be Romero, Dyer. That begins with Lenglt. Can't
Okay.
pronounce it. And
Yeah.
I think across their middle, this is what I think they should go with. It'd be Spence, Basuma, Heiberg, Sessignon, and their front line for me would be, I'd say, Perisic with Richarlison, Kane. That's what I think it should be.
Okay. So, I mean, Dyer will be definitely playing in that midfield anyway. We already know that. Romero will be playing as well. He'll be playing on the right hand side of that. Romero, he's an interesting one because
Very.
he's a bit of a hit and miss for me, Romero. He's been a bit, how can I say, exposed in some games.
I think his weakness is if you go on a 1v1 with him, that's his weakness because I don't think he's good at 1v1s.
hmm No, I don't think so either. I think he's great with his tackling. I think he's got good pace, but I just think that he's so highly exposed in that right hand side. I really do think so.
Yeah, no, that's what I think. It's like he's good in the air and he's good at tackling, but 1v1s, I think he's terrible.
hmm I think Perisic will be starting as well.
Oh, yeah, I do. I think he's going to start a lot of games this season, Perisic.
Yeah, and you did obviously mention about Lenglet, yeah, about him starting.
Yeah, I think that's a good signing for them.
It's an interesting signing. Um, what do you think of that back line
I
so
think
far?
it's strong. I think that for Tottenham, I think that's their strongest back three. I don't rate Sanchez at all.
No, I don't rate Sanchez either, to be honest. It's going to be more who's going to be playing as a wing back for the right, who's going
I'd
to be
say
playing in the central midfield,
it
and
probably
we know
will.
some will be playing there, so we might as well.
I'd say Basuma alongside Heiberg.
Okay, let me find some in this. Yeah. So we got Son here. He's not going to be dropped at all.
No.
Bissouma will be one. Do you think he will be good in the Champions League?
I think he's got that ability. He's got pace. He's strong. He's got a good passing range as well.
hmm I think Royale will be playing. To be honest, Amazing Royale.
Yeah.
It there's no other really apart from him. It's Mac Doherty.
Oh God, yeah. And he's not that good.
No, to be honest, I would literally much rather play. If I was obviously Conte, I would literally much rather play Spence, and then I would put Kulusevski in there
Yeah,
because I actually don't know why Kulusevski didn't start that last Champions League game. I know Richarlison scored and all. He probably will get dropped Kulusevski for Richarlison again, but for me, that's probably Spurs' strongest lineup.
yeah. I'd say that's their strongest lineup, to be honest.
hmm
As much as I like Spence to start, he's not going to start.
Nah, I can't see him starting to be honest, and that's why I think it's going to be Royale who'll be
I
starting.
think Tottenham really bought him. I think just for depth. That's all. I think the reason they bought him.
And I think Richarlison will be starting because Conte is going to look at that and think, oh, Richarlison's went and scored 2 goals. He can get him back into that squad again.
That's what I think. You
But
know, as much as Son, I like Son as a player. I do think he needs to be dropped.
yeah, I do think he hasn't been good whatsoever. I really don't, and I actually don't. To be honest, I can't even see Basuma starting. To be honest, um,
Probably not.
I'm looking at that. I'm thinking, where can Sporting exploit? I'm looking at that right hand side there. Apart from Holberg, Amazing Royale, Romero is questionable for me. that would be the side. If I was Sporting and I was going to attack, I would put Pedro Gonçalves there probably. Depending if Paulinho plays, I'll be putting Pedro Gonçalves on the left because he's got good pace, and I'll be using them to exploit that left-hand side.
You've got to exploit that right hand side. I think is a bit weak for Spurs. I've watched quite a bit of them in the Prem this year, and they have been exposed on that side. You know that right wing back there you've got on that team, and that right centre back. I think it can be exposed.
Exactly.
I've just got a good feeling it's going to be a good Portuguese club win tomorrow.
Exactly. I hope so, that's for sure. We'll quickly jump into the comments before we do a Sporting lineup. Foxy said, talking about Sporting youth players, check out the story of Fabio Payne. He was more rated at the time than Cristiano. Sadly, off the field, he got involved with drugs and a huge talent. There is a player who I'd say to look out for as well, Foxy, who's currently in the Sporting squad. He's called Rodrigo Ribeiro. He is the only Sporting youth player since Cristiano to go through all the ranks in one season. He's now in the first team, but for the Champions League, he's playing. Do you know about under-19 squad? So he's definitely one to look out for, Foxy. And he is in the Portugal's under-17s and he's ripping it up for Portugal's under-17s. 17 years old. And he managed to go through all the youth ranks in one season.
That's unbelievable.
He's the only player since Cristiano.
Is he on FIFA 22?
Yeah.
I might actually buy him. See what he's like.
Good evening, Reese. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. Good evening, Chris. I hope you're well. Come on, Spurs. Chris, are you back in the top big six here? That's not like you.
Well, Spurs, Leicester aren't doing well in the league, are they, Chris?
I say no more. Chris Reese has said Lenglet is questionable signing, but will give some experience. He is not what he used to be. Yeah, he's an ex-Juventus player, and that just speaks at all levels. If you want me to be honest.
Yeah, it's not the best, to be honest.
Spence right wing back Kulusevski. As much as that's a good idea, I just don't think it's gonna happen.
No, I don't.
Good evening, Luke. I hope you're well. Sporting, come on. Spurs going to be good for this. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the game. It's going to go very well. Reece, Conte has tried and trusted, but now with his solid squad depth to question their play, 100%. Radley said Romero can be exploited. I completely agree. Reece said Romero is by far their best centre-back, too difficult to stop. I'm not an overall fan of Romero. I think he's very, very sloppy at times. I actually think, in summer, Eric Dyer's probably the best centre back. I don't think they've got. I don't think that the back three is awfully strong. And if you look at other back lines compared to other Premier League teams, it's poor. It's a very poor one.
I think if you put Davis in that left side of centre back and Dyer in centre, I think that's strong. Because I rate Davis as a left sided centre back, but he can have a mistake in him. He does have that mistake in him, does Davis.
PJ's Maze, lol. No, I'm not in the PJs. Don't be so cheeky. Good evening, Matthew. Hope you're well. Thank you for coming into the chat. Fox said Romero is really good at pulling hair, he says. Exactly, I'm not a massive fan of him, but we'll do the Sporting lineup, who I think will go for Sporting. Everyone also get involved in the chat. So we'll go for me. It's going to be obvious who the goalkeeper is. It's Aiden. He's their number one. There's no doubt that he won't be starting in that game. Ravi's bestie will be playing Quartes. Quartes is actually an ex-Liverpool player.
I remember him at Liverpool. He never really played for him, did he?
It was shocking for Liverpool. Ravi, do you want him back?
No, it was terrible.
I think as well that it's obviously going to be Porro going to be starting there. So these are going to be the obvious ones who's going to be playing for me. Inacio will be playing, Inacio was actually linked to Man United, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But we didn't get him in the end, which I think was a bad choice. But we've got Martinez, so you can't complain about that. Here's the thing with centre backs now. Sporting has lost Neto.
He was a good centre back as well, wasn't he?
They've lost Neto. He got injured last game. St. Justine is injured. And what they ended up doing is playing a right wing back in the right back role. In that
Right
right
side of
centre
centre
back
back.
role. Yeah, because they've lost out on both the only two defenders they've got left because Fidel went on a free. So they've got no other centre backs now.
In that right side of centre back, as you said, it can be done because just Kyle Walker with England and City, he can play. You know, it's doable, but it's not as easy though, is it?
No, it's not easy at all. I worry. I'm not worried about the likes of Porro being as that right centre back. I'm just more worried of who's going to be playing there in that. In that right wing back. Sorry, I'm just more worried about the centre back role because Quartes is a liability for me, in my opinion. He's a bit hit and miss. And then if you're the right wing back who we've got, who played as a centre back, he ain't bad, but he makes quite a few mistakes, and that is what the problem is. It was shocking when he played as a Porro's replacement when Porro got a red card in that Porto game. He literally handballed it. And pretended he was a goalkeeper. It was shocking.
I mean, the left wing back for Sporting are like Nuno Santos.
Yeah, he'll be probably most likely playing there. But this is the only option we've got. We've got Estargo there to play because we don't have any other centre backs left. We don't have any other centre backs left, so it'd be playing a wing back there as a centre back.
I mean, what's Marcus Edwards like?
Marcus Edwards is very, very good, and I think Marcus Edwards, if he starts, he will be playing here, or because this is what I think is going to happen, most likely. People are going to hate me for this formation, this lineup, but I think this is what's going to happen.
Paulinho up front.
Mm-hmm. Why does it no Paulinho on this? There you are. Don't go hiding with me, boy. Yeah. That's what I think this lineup's going to be.
Is that your strongest lineup?
No.
No.
It isn't.
No, that you got available.
That's based off availability.
Yeah.
That's similar to what the lineup was last game, where Sporting won 4-0. But the thing is that I mentioned about the right wing back playing as a right centre back. That didn't happen because initially Estargo was playing where Porro was, and then Neto was playing there. Neto picked up a foot injury, so I don't know if he's going to be back. So that means with St. Justine also being out, that means Estargo will be playing there.
Yeah, right.
Pedro Gonçalves played last in the midfield role, and he played well.
Yeah.
For me right now, though, I just couldn't drop Nuno Santos because Nuno Santos, 2 games, 2 goals. You can't drop him. Porro, 2 games, 2 assists. Trincao, he's a goal machine right now. Marcus Edwards, player of the match against Frankfurt. Paulinho, I think he's only getting in that squad based off Gonçalves dropping back and I think we need a number 9 to be played against Tottenham.
Yeah, I mean, if you play number 9 against Tottenham, that you can get out, because this season I've seen that number 9s that play against Tottenham in Prem have struggled. They struggled to like mark them because you've got your wingers coming in to support as well, aren't you? I mean, I've said this a number of times to people. I think the popular formation now is 3 at the back. I think it's a lot more popular than a 4.
I think it depends on the team, because I think with the 3 at the back, you need to have the specialists, the specialist manager, and you need to have the specialist players to play there. But yeah, I'm not overly convinced with that lineup, in my opinion. But I think that's what's gonna end up going for.
You reckon that it might put a few surprises in the lineup, your manager?
No, just because of the fact that there is so many injuries right now. That's just the only issue
It's a
right now with
worry, innit?
Sporting. It's
Have you
too
got have you got any
dangerous.
depth in your squad? Have you got any depth in your squad?
We did, but not anymore.
What's that young striker called? A new young player that's come through our academies called?
Ribeiro, but he's in the B team of the Champions League, so we won't be playing in there. He'd be most likely playing in the league if he was coming off the bench, but he won't be playing. Let's go through some of the comments. Rather, lol, Mays, lol. I wouldn't take your boy Quartes back if he was the last player on earth. Mays, don't you have Quartes poster on your wall? No, I don't have a Quartes poster on my wall. Don't be so insulting.
You read a quarter and Van Dijk at the back for Liverpool.
Oh, that would
God.
be an automatic upgrade compared to Gomez after that last game. That's for sure.
That was so bad though, wasn't it? It was hilarious as well.
It was pretty funny. Reese has gone, Aiden, as my nickname, Uruguayan Maguire are called Quartes. Neto Inacio. Neto's injured, unfortunately. Porro, Ugante, Pedro Gonzalez, Santos, Trincao, Paulinho, Edward. So it's pretty similar to what I have got there. I hope Sporting get a good lineup, but Benfica are the ones. We're not talking about Benfica. No Benfica talk. Rabbit Mays. Sporting must see something in Quartes if they keep playing him. Quartes is the captain, that's why he's playing. Otherwise, he won't be playing. And to Reese, I'm only kidding. You can talk Benfica as much as you want. Have a lovely evening. Thank you for coming in, and thank you for watching both the shows. It means a lot. Foxy, surprise Sporting sold Plauter to Spain. Always thought he had potential at 21 still. I agree. And another one what's interesting as well, Bruno Tapata. He left Sporting to go to a Brazilian team. You will know more in detail, probably, Foxy. You know a lot more about South
I've got a
American
lot of
teams.
research to do on Sporting this week. Something to do. I only wait until I am at work rest of the week, so I've got something to do. A lot of research now.
Oh, he's injured. Then I'll go Estargo. Yep, unfortunately. Hey there, Box. I hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. I'd play Slimiani up front. He's actually left Sporting now. He plays for Brest in Ligue 1.
Wow, that's a name that rings a bell. Didn't he used to play for Leicester?
Yes, he did play for Leicester.
Oh yeah. He's not the best.
I was trying to think because I know it. I was trying to think then because I know he definitely played for Newcastle. Yeah, he was also.
Yeah, that wasn't the best of moves for him, was
it? Yeah. Reese, Alessandro Palacios, natural CDM could play the centre back. Wouldn't risk it. I couldn't risk it at all, to be honest. Highly rated Greek player Box. Yep, he is. I'll just hopefully buy Inacio from Box. Honestly, I'd love to have Inacio at Manchester United, especially as a backup for Martinez. He'd be very, very good. Rather, that's an insult to Van Dijk. Maisy, behave your bad self. Reese, top of the league. Yeah, I'll give you that. Van Drunk. I call him Van Disney.
True.
Box Braga look decent. Braga are looking decent. I think they're still unbeaten at this moment in time, and I think they'll probably do well in Europe as well. I wouldn't be surprised if they get into a quarterfinals at least. They've strengthened massively. Braga's had to Clara Bud, but caused disruptions this year. Camario is a solid centre back. Foxer, I knew it. Tabata at Palmeiras, yes. Played in the semi-final the other day. Skillful, but no end product. That's the only problem. I think for me, I quite like Tabata. He's a great substitute option, but he just wasn't playing the games. You can't keep him otherwise. But I'm sure he scored as a false nine for Sporting not long before the season ended last season.
I think with a false nine, you've got to have the right coach to play that system, haven't you?
Exactly. Currently second Braga. Keep up good content. Thank you, Luca. Yeah, so we'll wrap it up anyway. Before we wrap up, I know you you betted Sporting to win the game. What score are you going to go for?
Boy. 2-0 Sporting, 90th minute winner by Paulinho.
Oh my god, someone's rating Paulinho here. Thank you. This is a tough one. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw.
I think it'd be a good result for Sporting United to draw. Is it at Tottenham?
It's at the Sporting ground.
Well, they've got the home advantage, haven't they? Because Spurs aren't that really good away in Champions League.
They're not, so we need to hope for that, and Sporting does have a terrific home crowd, so fingers crossed. 0-0 draw from Reese. But said it's a very close game. But yeah, Tom, thank you so much for coming on. Great to have you back onto the channel.
Thanks for having me on again. I really appreciate it.
Would you like to shout out your socials?
My Twitter is a long name, so you just put it in the description and everyone can follow my Twitter. And I do tweet quite a few funny stuff as well. So
I'll put your link in the description below for your Twitter and your Instagram anyway. So if you haven't, give Tom a follow. Foxy's gone for a 1-1 draw. Eric Dyer own goal. Darren Sheffield that we loved, but I think the crowd will be happy to see Eric Dyer, knowing it's one of their own. How much did you pay Tom to say about Paulinho? I didn't pay Tom. Tom just
she didn't pay it.
Paulinho.
I've got good football knowledge, mate. I use all that all the time with my football knowledge. So.
Exactly. So yeah, another person rates Paulinho. That's advantage to Maisy. But thank you, Tom, so much for coming on. I'll be next live again. It is on Wednesday. I'll be back with Andy. We'll be doing a Reading preview. Tom is a Huddersfield fan.
I'm both. My granddad great was a Man United fan who got me into football. So.
Maisy speaking about Tapata as a sub is painful. Why is that painful? I don't understand. But yeah, so I'll be next live on Wednesday with Andy for the Reading preview. I'll be doing a review on the Sharif game. And I'm trying to think what else I've got planned for the channel. I've got my Premier League predictions as well. So I've got a few things up there. Boxer said up the Terriers.
Up the Terriers, mate. You know.
So, yeah, thank you very much, Tom. Thank you, everyone who's watching. Smash that like button.
I've subscribed to the YouTube channel on my tablet and my phone, so yeah, just come up when you're live anyway.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tom. It means a lot, and
no, it's all right.
We'll catch you all very, very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.